Hello, and welcome to the Friday edition of The Nerve. I am Maureen Callahan, and we have such a packed show for you today. I think you're going to love every single bit as much as I am obsessed with them all. Coming up, we are going to zig where everyone else zags when it comes to the discussion of celebrities claiming bizarre sexual identities. We're long past non-binary. We're like into pansexuality and demisexuality, and you're gonna enjoy this, trust me. We've got more on the woman of the decade, the legendary astronaut Gayle King. She's getting some clapbacks, and it's not doing anything to stop her obnoxious behavior. And as promised, we've got viewer emails as well, which I'm so excited because we've been emailing with each other quite a lot, but now we all get to sort of join in a much larger conversation. Okay, so first today, I'm going to kick it off with a story that has had legs for days. And when it comes to celebrity news and gossip and scandal, honestly, not a lot of them do, but we're Friday now, and this story broke on Sunday, so it's important, obviously, and we deeply need to talk about it. Bill Belichick, the former New England Patriots coach, former other half of Tom Brady. I don't even know anything about football. I truly don't care about football, but I am riveted to this story, as all of you are, I'm sure. And his girlfriend, who was born when Bill was about 49 years old. Do you remember that SNL skit that Tina Fey and Amy Poehler did? It was a game show with three men. It was almost like Jeopardy style setup. And the game show was called Meet Your Second Wife. And out walk 5-year-old girls, and these men are horrified. And the host is like, I can assure you, you will be marrying this girl in about 18 years. So Bill, I just actually did a column on this for the Daily Mail. He sat with CBS Sunday Morning because he has a book out, and it's called The Art of Winning. And it's highly ironic given the epic fail that this interview is. And people seem to think there might be something wrong with Bill. I don't think there is, and I'll tell you why. But look at who's running the show. I mean, this guy has been dealing with the media for the bulk of his adult life. For longer than he's been this is what he does. He knows how to sit and do an interview with, by the way, a velvet glove Sunday morning show that 99% of their stories traffic in feel good stuff. Okay, they're not breaking news over there. But look who's running the show in this interview, and look at what Bill Belichick is wearing.
We have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on.
Okay. So the story that these two like to tell about how they met, they used to talk about it. I don't know why this is suddenly off limits again on a very, very friendly Sunday morning show, was that they were on the same plane. Jordan was like a 21-year-old college student. Okay, you guys, she says she was reading a book called Deductive Logic. It was a college textbook. Deductive effing logic. Bill, what do you think this woman is with you for? Because you're connected via a soul explosion unlike any other. You're old, you're sloppy, you look, I'm not saying you are, but you look like you might have a drinking problem, and you are not fit. You don't seem like a fun guy, you don't. And here's Jordan sitting there shutting this down. Okay, first of all, if this story is true, which I highly doubt, she's a 20-year-old college kid of limited means. So either she's flying first class or Belichick is flying in coach, and he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who's gonna fly coach, okay? Or they were on a private jet. And again, how a college kid of limited means who is just busy with her head in a book called Deductive Logic rub shoulders with Bill Belichick on a private plane. I mean, I don't really know about that. So what also broke the other day, I think it was yesterday or the day before, Bill's friends are so alarmed that they are staging an intervention, that they have to plan this very carefully because he's in really deep with this one. No shit. I mean, it also just came out that he has gifted this woman $8 million in real estate. Okay. I hope this man had a vasectomy. I truly do. And Charles Barkley has gone public himself and said he's really worried about his friend Bill. Now, I want to make a note about this, the ripped, stained, ratty sweatshirt, which some people are like taking as kind of like a sign that mentally he might be losing it. You'll be happy to know that I consulted with Bill from Brooklyn last night, who can fill in all of my sports knowledge gap. And he told me that Belichick is infamous for doing this, and that it's his way of basically saying to people, fuck you, I'm better than you. I'm so much better and smarter and richer and more successful than you that I don't have to come to play dressed in an appropriate way. And, you know, not for nothing, but there are a lot of like younger head coaches right now, Sean McVay, I believe, being one of them. You know, they show up on the field and they are like, they have their stuff together. They look tight. They look clean. They look crisp. I mean, he's got like this Sean does this like aerodynamic hair that's kind of like very David Beckham-y. You know, he always looks extremely well put together, as he should. You're representing a multi-billion-dollar organization. You're representing the NFL. Bill Belichick has always been an ass to the media. And, you know, so why change now, I suppose, even though you're trying to sell a book? Now you're an author. You're an author, you're an astronaut, you know, depending on the day. He's an author now. And he's trying to sell a book. And to sell a book, first of all, as I write books, like I can tell you, every single author would give their left arm and a kidney to get booked on CBS Sunday Morning. That show moves books, number one. And number two, you're just going to get like a very high gloss, like kissy profile. Thirdly, more women than men buy books. Okay. So this guy needs to appeal to women out there who might buy the book for the men in their lives, their husbands, their boyfriends, their sons, whatever. What woman is going to be like, I want to put money in that guy's pocket so he can go put it in this 24-year-old Insta Thoughts pocket? Like, no, thank you. I would like to also take a moment to salute, and I'm not being ironic, Tony Dokoupil. I love this guy. First of all, he's the guy doing the interview with Bill Belichick, knows how to ask a question. He sits next to Gayle King 5 days a week. Okay, so this guy has balls of steel. He's seen it all. He was also the only journalist that I can recall who, when Ta-Nehisi Coates, you know, the famous Black intellectual that all the liberal media just adores, was doing his book tour a few months ago. He wrote a book on Israel versus Palestine in the wake of October 7th, the October 7th attacks on Israel. He admittedly said, look, I know nothing about this conflict. I'd never been. So he goes and he spends like 4 days in Israel. And he comes back and he writes a book comparing what's going on with Palestinians vis-a-vis Israel is akin to America and the Jim Crow South. And the media laps this garbage up. And what does Tony Dokoupil do? But he asks him some actual real questions. I believe Tony has an ex-wife and maybe 2 children who live in Israel. Okay, so he asks him some actual confrontational questions, which is the job description of a journalist. Not that Gayle King would know, because she's too busy going into space and then hooking up with Oprah platonically to go to a Beyonce show, which we're going to get to. But I salute you, Tony Dokoupil. By the way, Gayle King, as far as I understood it, did not stand up for Tony when he caught shit inside the walls of CBS News for doing his job. The other thing that does fascinate me about Tom Brady and Bill Belichick is that when Tom Brady left the New England Patriots, the speculation was, okay, like now we're going to see who the true talent of that team was. It was either Bill who made Tom who made Bill, or the two of them together, because how will one of these two replicate the success? Guess what? It's Tom Brady, okay? Tom Brady. Now, would I be surprised to learn that Tom Brady was dating a 24-year-old he like connected with on Raya, you know, that app for the celebrity dating app? I would not. I would be surprised if I heard about it, because Tom Brady infamously keeps his shit tight, except for the one time. And again, I wish Andy Warhol were still with us, because if you want to talk about the pantheon of celebrity, either paparazzi photos or photos that wind up on Instagram, even though they probably shouldn't have, it is this glorious image of Ben Affleck's former nanny, who he always has denied having an affair with, on a private plane with Ben and Tom Brady wearing all 4 of Tom Brady's Super Bowl rings. You guys, Jennifer Garner hung in that marriage as long as she could. And then I worked at the New York Post when we got this image, and the newsroom practically exploded. And it takes a lot to like electrify, bitter seasoned journalists. People were losing that, like brains were spilling out of hair. It was wild. Anyway, 3 days later, Jen Garner files for divorce. So again, Bill, get a lawyer, get a vasectomy, and don't rewrite your will for this one, okay? So next, we're going to go to Gail and Oprah. Now, I know I use this phrase quite a bit, but it really doesn't apply to that many people. I think there's a cohort, though, to which it really does apply in multiple scenarios, and that's celebrities, like people who like want to be famous this badly, and like this famous, like globally famous. The Gayles, the Oprahs, the Meghan Markles, in my opinion, they have a very deep hole that will never be filled. So Gail has not taken the note from the culture. The note being, we don't appreciate you going around and bragging about becoming an astronaut and how the only people now allowed to speak to you, I suppose Oprah's exempt from this and probably Tyler Perry, are people who have been to outer space, because we are now a legend walking among us. I guess Beyonce qualifies as well. So these two do not take the note. They go to the Beyonce show the other night. And so Gail is posting all over her Instagram feed like a 15-year-old. Oh, look at me, I'm backstage. I'm in the VIP box at like Beyonce's tour. By the way, like a really vicious fight broke out in like the VIP room at Beyonce's tour, which sets the tone for this tour, which I'm going to talk to you a bit about. There's another image of Gail with Oprah and Tyler Perry. They're like all like lined up, and you can see Gail is wearing, I shit you not, she's wearing a pair of bedazzled jeans. She should go on the new reboot of What Not to Wear, because we're talking about disgusting people on the whole. And I opened this up on my laptop and was looking, when you get the Instagram post, it's like the photo, and then like on the other side of the photo is like the comments. And my favorite comment that she somehow, one of her minions wasn't able to scrub in time, simply said, "Fuck you, Gail." Whoever wrote that, it's like you are distilling Hemingway's essence. Less is more, right? It's Hemingway-esque. It's a thing of beauty. So anyway, then she posts images, or rather footage, of Beyonce performing at this show. Now, I've never understood Beyonce's appeal. I do not think she is a genius artist. I'm sorry, she's not. Can she sing? Yes. Can she put on a show? Yes. But I'll explain this all to you. So we see this footage of her. Look, you guys, look at what she's wearing. Look at that. Look at this. Like, first of all, her stylist fucking hates her. Those boots are like made of fur. They come up to like almost her entire thigh length. Like, they're almost at like the hem of her cutoff shorts. She's a cowboy now. I don't understand. Or a cowgirl. Why is a cowboy Carter? Why isn't a cowgirl Carter? I don't get it. So she's like, I am sure it is very difficult to lumber around the stage, because Beyonce is not like the whippet thin young girl she was in Destiny's Child. And so she pushes that up with, I swear to God, just zero like thought. Like, again, like I'm supposed to listen to Gail deliver the news to me and kind of like influence the way I think. Guys, I have a couple of things to share about Beyonce. I have it on very good authority. I cannot disclose my source. This isn't Watergate, but it's close. I have it on very good authority that in her actual life, behind the scenes, Beyonce is not the feminist warrior badass taking all the men to the, she's not. She's actually meek to the point of like mutism. There's this thing called selective mutism, which I know because somebody I know had a child who had it. And it's this sort of phenomenon where like they can speak, like their vocal cords work, everything's fine, but they selectively go mute whenever they're sort of overwhelmed. And in her real life, Beyonce's a selective mute, okay? She goes into business meetings and Jay-Z's doing all the talking, or her lawyer's doing all the talking. It's not a power move. Like she literally just doesn't have anything to say. I don't think much is going on up there. Now, to that point, Diddy's trial kicks off next week, and we have such a special show lined up for you. We are going to be all over this thing. And I have a great guest. You guys are going to love this guest. So Jay-Z, historically, has been very, very close to Sean Combs, to Diddy, who it just broke yesterday that he has refused a plea deal like I knew he would, because malignant narcissists can never admit they did anything wrong. Now, Jay-Z has very successfully scrubbed his own problematic history. I'm going to give you just a few bullet points. And by the way, I love Jay-Z's music, like his older stuff especially. Like front to back, I was a deep fanatic for his stuff. But that said, Jay-Z, serious drug dealer. That's in his past. He's talked about that. Stabbed his own brother. He's talked about that. He stabbed a guy named Lance Un Rivera, who was a record producer. I believe this was a nightclub incident. He has successfully scrubbed that. He was in business with Sean Combs. And again, say what you will about Jay-Z, he's a very shrewd business guy. I love his mind for business. He was so close, so like decades, I think, of being in business with Diddy. And also, Jay-Z does exhibit like some questionable choices in collaborators, be they business or artistic. He had a big collab going with Kanye for a while, backed away slowly. So you're going to tell me that Jay and Beyonce know nothing about these freak-offs, that Gail and Oprah know nothing about these freak-offs. Sure. Now, the worlds collide again, because I'm going to say it was maybe last summer, Gail was touting, look at the exclusive I landed. How fucking great am I? I'm just like the greatest thing. I got Jay-Z to sit down with me for her stupid show, her stupid morning show. Again, it was like an interview. It was like, can I give you a hug? I'm just going to hug you, Jay. I'm just going to give you a hug. So Gail, this interview is to market Jay-Z's own personal museum exhibit. I believe it was at the Brooklyn Museum. Sir, please take a seat. You get an exhibit after you die, okay? If you've ever been to the Johnny Cash Museum in Nashville, another one of my favorites, that museum, it's very small. It's actually very modest for such a legend, like a true artist who really saw some shit, okay? I bet you Johnny could have really given Jay-Z a run for his money in the outlaw area. But it's really small. It's almost like one room. So, Jay-Z's giving an interview to Gail about his exhibit and how great he is and blah, 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 blah. And Gail asks not one question with any teeth. And now when the Diddy trial starts, watch all of these people go to ground, okay? I mean, Gail probably won't. She probably will just do what I would do, which is like call up Jeff Bezos and go back into space until the whole thing is over. Okay. Moving on, I'm telling you, it's a packed day. I'm trying to go through all of this, but not spare any relevant details. Hilaria Baldwin, okay? So she's got a book coming out next week. And trust me when I tell you, we're going to cover it in a way that no other media outlet is going to. You'll see the stuff on she'll do Extra, she'll do Access Hollywood, she'll do ET, she'll get Kid Glove treatment. We will not see anyone. This is what I would die for, okay? I'm begging for some of the guys at Access Hollywood to get some teeth, because they love to talk to celebrities on red carpets and pull out old photos or old clips of them and be like, oh my God, can you remember back then? When you were so young and green and knew nothing, but Harvey was telling you to come meet him in a 5-star hotel suite alone. Can you remember when you were that naive? I would die. I will send whoever does this, an incredible gift, a gift you would never anticipate getting. If one of you will stop Hilaria on a red carpet and show her the following clip.
Very few ingredients. We have tomatoes. We have, how do you say it? Cucumbers. We have red pepper.
How you say cucumber. So I wrote this infamous column for the New York Post at the time, and it wound up being our front page. And we had Hilaria mocked up as like a toreador, like a bullfighter, and the head, the wood, they call it the wood. The headline was "It's all bull," and it was one of those columns that almost breaks the internet because we learned that Hilaria had been faking being a Spanish woman from Spain lo these many years. And in fact, she was a white woman named, I mean, I know Spaniards are white, but she's an American woman named Hillary Hayward Thomas from a very posh part of Boston. And my big question has always been, and nobody has ever asked Alec Baldwin this question. And again, you guys, like, who will be the one? Who will be the one to ask Alec the question, what did you know and when did you know it? Like, did you find out your wife was like really just like a regular unimpressive white woman from Boston before you married or at any point after? I don't think he did, you guys. I think he found out with the rest of us. Okay, anyway. So the Baldwins have been on this rehabilitation tour ever since Alec, his case was dismissed on a legal violation on the part of the prosecution. The prosecution really overplayed their hand. I thought they otherwise had a strong case. That's just my opinion. But Alec shot and killed a young cinematographer on that set named Helena Hutchins. She was 42. She was married. She had a small son. And Alec, I guess I'm going to go in chronological order here. So first he does this roadside press conference with Hilaria. It's like maybe a week after the shooting. And watch as Hilaria tries to get in the shot, get in the frame, interject with her fake outrage over a woman she probably has suspicions about her closeness to Alec Baldwin, because you'll hear Alec say, I took her to dinner. I think you'll hear him say that in this shot. And then try to reemerge in the frame after Alec kicks her out the first. It's hilarious. Like, again, I don't know why SNL didn't parody it. I do know why they didn't parody it. It's because Alec is tight with Lorne Michaels, and Lorne has his pets. And, you know, you shoot a cinematographer while you're filming a movie, I guess you break a few eggs. Okay, so let's watch this.
I've been ordered by the Sheriff's Department in Santa Fe. I can't answer any questions about the investigation. I can't. It's an active investigation in terms of a woman dying. She was my friend. She was my friend. The day I arrived in Santa Fe to start shooting, I took her to dinner with Joel, the director. We were a very, very, well-oiled crew shooting a film together, and then this horrible event happened.
You met
What
with...
are the...
Sorry.
What are the questions that you have other than that?
You met with I'm afraid I forget her name in a moment, but you met with her family in the
Helena.
day.
Yes,
her
I
name
met
is
with her
Helena. If you're spending this much time waiting for us, you should
don't know
her
her
name.
name?
Her name is Helena.
Helena Hutchins. I met with her husband Matthew and her son. Yeah, that's right.
And how did that meeting go?
I wouldn't know how to characterize it. They're mortified.
You guys, you know what? No details.
But do me a favor. I'm gonna answer the question.
Excuse me, this is my presser, okay, lady? I'm the one who shot and killed somebody who is a total innocent. I'm the one who's gonna handle these Q&As. I'm the professional here. Okay, so then this morning, I believe it was this morning, Hilaria reemerges on Instagram doing her favorite thing, sexy solo yoga poses. Watch this.
Sciatica, I get this myself. I know how painful it is, so I really feel for you. I start in child's pose, releasing down. If it's hard for you to get your hips down, you can just lift them up. You can separate your knees. You can place something underneath your forehead so you can relax your neck down. I hang out here for a little bit.
Okay, I mean, this is disgusting. She's got her boobs hanging. You guys can end it.
You can press up.
You can stop it. She's got her boobs hanging out, and she's doing what looks like, it looks like she's wearing like denim cutoffs. Like, again, any woman who's ever done yoga or Pilates, like, you're not wearing cutoffs for various multiple you're not. But this woman has everything hanging out that now you can smell the desperation. You can smell the flop sweat because their reality show, which just ended on TLC, which was meant to make them very lovable and relatable and using their children as kind of human shields. And like, I believe that they are hoarders. They hoard children. They just hoard. So that show is an epic failure. And I think I only watched like the first episode or something, but you see something very disturbing in their dynamic. Now, look at this clip of Alec telling us about a potentially fatal allergy that he has and Hilaria's loving reaction to said allergy.
My friend Ronnie had cats when I first went to Los Angeles in 1983. And I would stay with Ronnie on like a futon, but in a frame, and like underneath the frame on the floor, you could see like enormous tumbleweeds of cat hair. And I had an asthma attack, and I had to go to the hospital and get a shot of epinephrine from the doctors there. And I said to my wife, I said, we can't have cats ever. She goes out and buys 4 cats. 4.
Alec.
Is that not one of the most fucked up things you've ever heard? He says to her, I have an extremely serious allergic reaction to cats. It sent me to the hospital. She comes home the next day with 4 cats. What is going on in this house? What the actual F is going on in this house? That reminded me, by the way, they are hoarders because they have like 7 cats and 4 dogs, or like vice versa. And then they've got like 3 nannies. Like, and it's, you know, he lives in a duplex. He apparently reportedly, so he has this duplex in Manhattan in this really nice building on East 10th Street. It's like the building on East 10th Street. He reportedly keeps another apartment in that building just for himself. Okay, I can see why. He helpfully told us in that reality show that having all these other kids is kind of like a do-over for the terrible father he was, my words, not his, to his daughter Ireland, which we will talk about in one quick second. But I wanted to also mention that, so Rust has been released today. This movie should never have seen the light of day. It should have just been destroyed. Truly, it should have been destroyed. But no, you know, Alec, he's an actor. He's an artist. We have to see his incredible work in this shitty movie that the entire crew walked off of, practically the entire crew, over safety concerns. Okay, so that movie's out. Hilaria's got a book out next week. She has another book out already with her daughter, Carmen, who is 12 going on 22. She is highly parentified. She is made up and dressed up to look like a little, like a woman. Like she's, this child is, I think highly sexualized. I don't like it. I think it's disgusting. And there's one other Alec clip. You know, he helpfully says on this reality show that presumably his eldest child, Ireland, who he had with Kim Basinger, is going to see. Like, presumably she's going to see this, to see her father say, oh, well, now I get to do it right. And, you know, that was a botch job. That's what he's saying, basically. So imagine being the kid that's hearing this. That one was a botch job. Look at me over here. I'm covered in children. Never forget. We're going to revisit this together. Never forget the voicemail that got leaked of Alec Baldwin. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I'll tell you who he's talking to after we hear it.
Hey, I want to tell you something, okay? And I want to leave a message for you right now, because again, it's 10:30 here in New York on a Wednesday. And once again, I've made an ass of myself trying to get to a phone to call you at a specific time. When the time comes for me to make the phone call, I stop whatever I'm doing, and I go and I make that phone call at 11 o'clock in the morning in New York, and if you don't pick up the phone, at 10 o'clock at night, and you don't even have that goddamn phone turned on. I want you to know something, okay? I'm tired of playing this game with you. I'm leaving this message with you to tell you, you have insulted me for the last time. You have insulted me. You don't have the brains or the decency as a human being. I don't give a damn that you're 12 years old or 11 years old, or that you're a child, or that your mother is a thoughtless pain in the ass who doesn't care about what you do as far as I'm concerned. You have humiliated me for the last time with this phone. And when I come out there next week, I'm going to fly out there for the day just to straighten you out on this issue. I'm going to let you know just how disappointed in you I am and how angry I am with you that you've done this to me again. You've made me feel like shit, and you've made me feel like a fool over and over and over again. And this crap you pull on me with this goddamn phone situation that you would never dream of doing to your mother, and you do it to me constantly and over again. I You understand me? I'm going to really make sure you get it. Then I'm going to get on a plane, I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to come home. So you better be ready Friday, the 20th, to meet with me. So I'm going to let you know just how I feel about what a rude little pig you really are. You are a rude, thoughtless little pig, okay?
To replay this message.
Hey, I want to...
To replay this message, like that poor kid wants to hear that message again. Okay, I'm going to straighten your ass out. You would think this is a Mammoth play that Alec was in, or you would think he was reaming out his agent or, a business partner. Like, no, this is like his daughter who he says, however old you are, 11 or 12, however old you are. Like, he doesn't know how old his own kid is. Okay. And by the way, at this point, this was Alec's only child. Okay. Rude, thoughtless little pig. Alec Baldwin is seriously wondering why his child does not want to pick up the phone when it's him calling. Do you think that this voicemail might be exhibit A as to why she was, I think, terrified of you, maybe didn't want to take your call at 10 o'clock at night because she wouldn't be able to sleep after having what was surely a nightmarish conversation or interaction with you? I'm going to get on a plane and straighten your ass out. I mean, the rage within Alec Baldwin, trust me, it has not gone away. It has not gone away. He's trying to put on a friendly face. The fact that he wound up killing a woman, frankly, it doesn't surprise me. He's known all over New York City. Like, I believe he's put like holes in the walls of like dressing rooms and like Broadway theaters. He's like assailed like baristas at Starbucks and called them like hissy queens. Like, he's like gotten into like, fights over like parking. I mean, I get parking in New York. It really is a bitch, but whatever. That aside, like this guy, yeah. That's it for Alec. Please don't put money in his pocket or in Hilaria's. I promise you, we will cover her book next week, and you will love exactly how we're going to do it. I've been planning this out for a while. Okay, coming up, we are going to talk about celebrities and all the new sexualities that they're coming up with, and how they love to explain those to us, but they will never talk to us about who they're actually dating. And then I'm going to lay down the gauntlet and really posit a dare to this otherwise brave, bold, courageous community. That's next. Let me tell you a story about a guy named Leo Grillo. Leo came across a Doberman while on a road trip, and this little guy, I mean, he's a Doberman, but he was severely underweight. He was clearly in trouble. So Leo scooped him up and named him Delta and took him home. Sadly, Delta was just one of many animals that needed help, which inspired Leo to start Delta Rescue, the largest no-kill, care-for-life animal sanctuary in the world. They have rescued thousands of dogs, cats, and horses from the wilderness, and they provide their animals with shelter, love, safety, and a home, a forever home. This dedication and everlasting love to animals is Leo's mission and legacy, and Delta Rescue relies solely on contributions from people like us. If you want caring for these animals to be part of your legacy, you could speak with your estate planner because there are tax-saving estate planning benefits too. You can grow your estate while letting your love for animals live well into the future. Check out the estate planning tab on their website to learn more and speak with an advisor. We call Dog Man's best friend for a reason, and you can help those who need it the most. So please visit deltarescue.org today to learn more. That is deltarescue.org. Welcome back to The Nerve, where we are going to dive into all these new sexualities that Hollywood celebrities are developing in the lab, like another kind of COVID. It's going to be infecting us all before you know it. So Lily Gladstone, who most people probably do not know this person. Okay, she was in Killers of the Flower Moon, directed by Martin Scorsese, and she starred alongside Leonardo DiCaprio. And all we heard during that press tour, and she got nominated for an Oscar for it, Leo would sit next to her in almost every interview. He was like her emotional support celebrity. And he would sing this woman's praises to the high heavens. Like she was the best actress he'd ever worked with. And he'd worked with like Meryl Streep, but oh my God, Lily Gladstone, she's like another level of like just mind-blowing talent. And how did she go undiscovered for so long? And the implication was that a Lily Gladstone would have gone undiscovered for so long because she was a Native American, like from a reservation, because B, she is not stick thin, she's kind of overweight, and C, she's not what you would call a conventional beauty. I would like to add to this list that she has zero charisma and as much talent. So this woman's performance in Killers of the Flower Moon, which I watched and I actually really liked. I thought it was better than the book, which is unusual. So she is like sleepwalking through this entire performance. This, by the way, is a woman who comes to suspect, rightly, that her husband is slowly poisoning her to death. They have children together so that he and his white friends can like buy up everything, like all this land that these Native Americans live on that's got oil in it. Okay, so she suspects her husband, who she's deeply in love with, is fatally poisoning her slowly, and her acting the entire movie is like this. It's like this. It's like, oh, she has a deathbed scene. This woman takes like 4 days or a week to die. Like the energy she emits while dying in bed is the energy she emitted the whole movie. Okay, so surprise, surprise, Lily Gladstone is having trouble booking other jobs, other roles. Nobody wants to hire this woman because she's not good at it. Okay, she's in the wrong industry, if you ask me. So she has this new independent movie out that nobody's going to go see and nobody cares about it. But she sits down with a British newspaper. I will get the name. I forget what it was. But anyway, so you can tell the interviewer hates her already because she starts, or whoever wrote it, starts the piece quoting Lily saying this: "I'm interesting and long-winded," admits Gladstone, who is neither falsely modest nor lacking in self-awareness. I believe she is lacking in a lot of self-awareness. So she goes on to say, now celebrities love to talk about this, as do the Oprahs and the Gayles, the people who posit themselves as like our thinkers, our foremost thinkers. Lived experience, she tells us, is the most important thing. To what I say, what other kind of experience is there? It's baked into the word. Experience is something that you have, okay? Now, are you alive? Yeah, you're alive if you're having an experience. What the fuck is lived experience? I want this like phrase out of the lexicon. Okay, I'm not even gonna go finish that thought. Okay, now we get to the meat of this segment. Gladstone calls herself, quote, queer, quote, pansexual, quote, and straight. Okay. I can't put a label on it, she says, even though she has 3 labels, and I believe a 4th one is coming. Quote, "One of the big things that tipped me to my queerness is that I don't have the draw to motherhood the way a lot of women have." What does one have to do with the other? Literally nothing. Like literally nothing. Then she goes on to say she thought she might have been asexual because she has no attraction to anybody. And then she had a romantic attraction to everybody, but no, like, okay, it's one or the other, lady. Okay. You either have no sexual attraction to anybody or you are sexually attracted to everybody, but it cannot be both. Like logically, it just can't, but she's just going to keep running on because, she's so smart. Then the word demisexual came into play, where it's like, I don't feel sexual stirring at all unless I actually care about this person. Like, that is not an unusual, sorry, that is not an unusual feeling. So, but anyway, Lily Gladstone wants you to care. Oh, but by the way, she'll never tell you who she's dating, and don't fucking ask because it's none of your business. Okay, moving on. Demi Lovato has readopted her pronouns because explaining they, them was tiring. By Demi. Rebel Wilson to launch new fluid dating app, quote, "I never thought I was 100% straight." So she's now married to a woman, by the way. So she is launching a new dating app called Fluid. There used to be like 3 categories: straight, gay, or bisexual. I thought they covered the gamut, but apparently I was wrong. And this leads us to, I just want to take a moment. I think about like 0.0003% of the population before this sort of trans queerness thing exploded. And by queer, I just mean people like who identify it in like new names that mean nothing. It's like 0.003% of people identify as like trans, you know? But the celebrity community, like the A-list celebrity community, seems to have a disproportionate number of children who identify as either trans or non-binary. And this seems really strange to me because you would think this would sort of be a blanket percentage across like the general population in America. But once again, celebrities are showing us that anything the rest of us can do, they can do better. And I'm just gonna run down a list of celebs who claim that they have children who are trans or another sex or non-binary. It's a long list. Robert De Niro's like 25-year-old child just came out as trans. I think is planning to have an operation. I think that person should reconsider. J-Lo, her daughter Emmy, who I think this is what I think is going on. I'm just gonna give you my theory. Okay, this is what's going on. It is very, very hard for the children of malignant narcissists, again, just my opinion, who are obsessed with their own looks and fame and status and wealth and their own power coupling, who they're with, who's hot, who's not. It is very hard to get a minute of time booked in with mommy or daddy. And so the way you can get attention and the way you can differentiate yourself is to say, I think I might be another gender, or I think I might not be any gender, or I think I'd like to start transitioning. And instead of what seems to be the approach of taking that child to a very good psychotherapist and saying, we're going to talk this out all day long, but we're not going to medicalize you. And I'm certainly not going to put you on my social media. And I'm certainly not going to drag you with me to red carpet premieres or, you know, make sure the paps catch us together in like these offhand, unguarded moments. So they understand that I am such an open-minded, generous, truly wonderful parent. We're going to deal with this privately and together. All that other stuff happens, okay? And also, you know that J-Lo does not want a beautiful daughter competing with her. You know it. This was always my theory as to why Shiloh Jolie, the eldest of the Jolie Pitt kids, was put into boys' clothes at a very young age by, I believe it was Angie, the mastermind there. I don't think she wanted the competition. You can't be prettier than mommy, okay? It's not happening. Andrew Cuomo's daughter, Michaela, listen, if Andrew Cuomo was your dad, that pig, that disgusting, filthy pig, in my opinion, you'd have some issues with your sexuality too, I think. Michael Jordan's kid, Megan Fox, Naomi Watts, and Liev Schreiber, Charlize Theron, who I believe announced to us all that she was informed by her kid that they were trans at the age of like 4. Marcia Gay Harden, all three kids on some kind of sexual gender spectrum, okay? So suck it. Naomi Watts and Charlize Theron. Robert De Niro, I just said. Rosie O'Donnell, we talked about this last week. Now she's got a double threat because her kid Clay is not only non-binary, but autistic. Oh, and by the way, their personal counselor, close friend, matricidal maniac, Lyle Menendez. Okay, so that's just a brief list. I could go on, but I'm not going to because enough of that. So I would like to throw down a challenge. And before I do this, I talked to you guys a little bit about, like, I have this really cute little house out in this part of East Hampton that's like a kind of shaggier, cooler, artsier part. Like, and I thought, oh, this will be like a really nice place to just go and like decompress, and like people out in this part probably aren't assholes. Well, let me tell you, I was disabused of that right quick. Like my first summer there, I was invited to this like cookout, and it was full of all these like media people who had kind of been like turfed out of the media industry as like the industry contracted. I mean, now it's in its death throes, but like they live for sightings of Katie Couric out in the wild. They all kind of worked for her, but it doesn't seem to occur, because they brag about it all the time, but it doesn't seem to occur to them that if Katie Couric thought they were really any good, they'd be working for her new media company, which they're not. So these are the kind of assholes I'm already dealing with. And I go to this cookout on the beach, and this woman is talking. It's like this circle. Everybody's talking around a fire. It's a moonrise. It's like you'd vomit. So this movie comes up called Free Solo. It's an incredible documentary. I saw it, like my jaw was on the floor. It's about this guy who, and he's part of a community. They look for the hardest mountains in America to climb in the world, but we're not talking like mountains that slope. Like these are mountains that are like this, like they're vertiginous. They're like straight up and down. And they climb these mountains with nothing. Like they have no ropes, they have no restraints, they have no harnesses, they have no like, what like a paratrooper would call like a second, safe thing. Like they have nothing. They're like, it's their hands, their sweaty hands and their feet. And if they slip and fall, they die. And I was talking, and the guy who was the star of the movie that they focused on, he has this girlfriend who's traveling around. She's stashed in the back of a van. And at one point he literally kind of says to her like, hey, if you're going to make me ever choose between the mountains and you, it's the mountains every time. So we're talking about this movie. And I say to this woman, I have a theory about that movie. And I think that guy has a paraphilia, by which I mean, I think he has a sexual attraction to mountains. And I think getting to the top of the mountain is his, like, let's call it like his moment of arrival. Okay. So I think it's sexual for him because he didn't really seem to care about the girlfriend. He was obsessed with the mountains. Okay. When I tell you this woman turned to me and she sneered, and my friends, this person is not clever, funny, smart, or attractive enough to get away with sneering at me. Okay. She sneers and she goes, Maureen, some people are just on the spectrum. And I'm like, yeah, I fucking know that, okay? But not everybody's on the spectrum. Everybody's on the spectrum now. And I get always highly suspicious of that because I think that's often an excuse for people who are just assholes. Some people are just assholes. They're not on the spectrum. And secondly, I am offering you a theory that is way more interesting than that. And what do you have for me? A sneer? Okay, so that was the end of that little social experiment. Okay, so now on to my challenge. There's a kind of sexuality that I don't think you guys, any of these Hollywood stars know about. And I would like to throw down the gauntlet because I will applaud and would love to welcome on the Nerve the first celebrity who will self-identify as an Objectum sexualis. What's that, you say? Allow me to explain. An Objectum sexualis is a person who has a sexual attraction and engages in sexual activity with objects. Now, there was an amazing British documentary about this that came out several years ago. And I think I was introduced to it like by the Howard Stern show. And I quickly went and watched it front to back and then watched it again. And it's about these people. I mean, they're clearly very damaged. Like they clearly have a lot of trauma, but they fall in love with objects and like they marry them. This doc is called I Married the Eiffel Tower. And we're going to take a look at it. Like, let's look at the beginning of this doc. You're going to die.
I am a woman. And this is a bridge. And despite our vast differences, we are very much in love. And our love in itself is no different from any other love that exists between two beings. One of the most difficult parts of being in love with a public object is that he and I can never be truly intimate. Whereas objects I've loved in the past, that's never been an issue. I feel very, very blessed to have a piece of my sweet Golden Gate Bridge. And I just hope that when I make love with this piece of him, that he can sense and feel how much I really, really love him.
I mean, that kind of plays like it's a satire, like it's like a Christopher Guest parody. It's like a Rob Reiner Spinal Tap parody. It's not like these are real people who are talking about their love affairs, their deep romances, and wild sex lives with objects. Now, what's interesting to me, okay, so we're going to move on to this next woman really quick. So she's an archer in a relationship with not her arrow, but her bow, like her actual like bow. But I guess it's got a double meaning, right? Because a beau is a B-U-A-O, someone you date. Okay, whatever. So this is her coach telling the camera or the producers, whatever, when she first came out to him as an Objectus sexualis.
And he is her coach and a friend who's known her for years.
At first I thought it was a little strange because she would always be with her beau. And then one time I recall she told me that she slept with Lance. and my first reaction was that this is a little weird.
You think? You think? It's funny too. Like he wasn't like, oh, like you just like you put your bow in your bed at night because you've like this deep like connection or it helps your performance. He understands immediately. She's like, no, I'm fucking my bow. Okay. So anyway, this woman, her name is Naisho. She then falls out of love with the bow and she leaves the bow for her new love, which is the Eiffel Tower. Take a look.
I know I've disappointed myself, but I'm trying to keep alive something that I'm not in love with anymore. And now I've put myself in an extremely complex situation because my heart decided it wanted to fall in love with something that's almost completely out of my reach.
A year ago at a private ceremony, she married the Eiffel Tower, pleading eternal love to the iconic structure.
So you're going to notice a pattern. If this doc is on YouTube, like treat yourself this weekend. Okay. Treat yourself. And then email me and tell me what you think. Maureen at devilmaycaremedia.com. So they fall in love. It's not like they just fall in love with like the building down the road. Like not that sucker, not that layabout guy, that scrub with no job. No, they fall in love with the most famous structures in the world, right? It's the Eiffel Tower, it's the Golden Gate Bridge, it's the Berlin Wall, or it is, as we are about to see in this next clip, the Empire State Building.
The Empire State Building is one of Amy's regular lovers.
I think Amy has a few words for you, so I'm gonna let you two alone, all right? All right.
Public displays of affection are often a problem.
I think we're being watched. Yes, I'm fine. Okay, sir, I'm sorry.
How was it?
It's beautiful. The security guard gave me hell, though.
The security guard gave me hell, though. Keep in mind, this is after September 11th, okay? You cannot just like rub up against an iconic New York City skyscraper and not think that security, she's lucky she didn't get arrested, okay? And she's like defiling, one of the great structures in America. But, okay, so anyway, she tells us that prior to the Empire State Building, back when he was still around, she calls this structure even though it was a dual structure, it was the Twin Towers. I mean, we all know what happened on September 11th, but prior to September 11th, she had been in a deep, loving sexual relationship with the Twin Towers. And here she explains that relationship.
Every time I see the city and, look at the World Financial Center that's in front of where the Twin Towers used to be, I'll just never get used to it. Used to him being gone.
To Amy, the Twin Towers is a single entity, a he, and she still loves him, even though he's now gone.
I'll always care for you.
As someone who was in New York City on that day and who saw it happen in front of my face, I mean, have some respect, really, have some dignity. Just leave the Twin Towers out of this narrative, okay? Please. The secret to great days is better nights. And it all starts by turning your bedroom into a sanctuary with Cozy Earth. Their bamboo sheet set is something special. It is the softest, the coolest, the most luxurious sheets you will ever own. Breathable, temperature regulating, and crafted to help you sleep like it actually matters. Imagine crawling into bed every night and feeling restored, refreshed, and waking up ready to take on the day. And don't forget about their bamboo pajamas. These are lightweight yet cozy, and they're designed to help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. It's the sleepwear upgrade you didn't know you needed, but you definitely deserve. Cozy Earth makes it easy to try for yourself. You get 100 nights risk-free to fall in love, plus every bedding product is backed by a 10-year warranty. So take the time to prioritize your sleep and prioritize you. Visit cozyearth.com and start sleeping better with Cozy Earth today. That's cozyearth.com. Okay, so welcome back to The Nerve. We are now going to read some audience feedback, some theorizing, some gossip. You guys have lived, you've seen a lot. Okay, so this email comes from someone who has a great theory. It's C.E. Donovan 1, you know who you are, who has a great theory about Michelle Obama's bitching and moaning on her new podcast. I'm wondering if she thinks it might have to do with Michelle Obama's mother dying fairly recently, which I think is a really great theory. I'm wondering if it is her mother's expectations and standards that Michelle is, quote, rebelling against. In addition, Michelle referenced this year as being the year that she's going to start living life on her own terms. Sounds to me, wink, that's in the email, sounds to me that this is something Mo is working on in therapy post her mom's death. Basically, I'm thinking that Mo's evolution, both psychologically and physically, might be tied to a late in life parental separation stage. This is fascinating, and I think you are on to something. I knew we had the smartest audience going. Hi, Maureen. This is from a fellow Irish woman named Kathleen Mahoney. I'm enjoying your new show and have always enjoyed you on Megyn Kelly. Thank you for that. One thing I feel reluctant to mention is the use of the Lord's name on the show. As a lifelong Catholic, it bothers me, and I don't think it's necessary. I know you have issues with the church, and I'm guessing the church traumatized you in some way. Kathleen, I can assure you, I was not, as the Irish used to say, sexually interfered with as a child. But I did witness a lot of corporal abuse and beating of small children, and I sort of parachuted out when I had a theology teacher tell our class, and I asked again, do you really mean what you're saying? That children who are stillbirths or miscarriages, they don't get a one-way pass to heaven, but they got to sit around and wait in purgatory because they weren't baptized. So I hope you stick with me, Kathleen, even though I do occasionally take the Lord's name in vain and have a potty mouth. Hi, this is to the Mean Girl segment, which is going to become sort of a recurring conversation on the show because it really landed with a lot of you guys. I went to an all-girls Catholic school, totally relate. My best friend, Mary, was hijacked by Christine, a very rich girl who was pretty charismatic, very sophisticated. And she thinks that this girl, Christine, zeroed in on the friendship and went around to break it up. And she says, to this day, I do not really trust female friendships, which is sad in a way. And Catherine, oh, sorry, you signed this Catherine. It came from a Mary Evan email, but it's Catherine. I would encourage you to maybe find a good therapist and work through that because, listen, I'll tell you, I survived Mean Girl stuff. I have a very similar story in my own past, and it was brutal. It was brutal, but there are really good women out there who, I have two extremely close female friends of many years, and I would be lost without them. So just know it's okay. You should. I would encourage that. Hi, Maureen. This is from Thomas Green. Watching you at my gym on large screen. Okay. I'm still getting used to seeing myself on screen, but okay. Yikes. Cannot unsee that Walter Goggins in a Speedo. Confidence or total lack of self-awareness. How about a gym membership, Walter? I love this. I love this email. He goes on to say, I had a gym in Columbus, Ohio back in the mid-70s. Arnold Schwarzenegger, who we talked about on the last show, was there as a promoter after retiring from bodybuilding. He wanted to know what women I knew that were available for the weekend. Okay? Everybody knew. Another Cynthia Berryman was one of at least two people, another one named Maria. One thing about Maria, I'll never forget when Arnold was governor of California, Maria used to park wherever she wanted and whenever she wanted to. She was caught, I believe, by TMZ tossing her tickets, this piece of entitled shit. And then here's another viewer who sent the screen grab of Maria, that great Christian. And by the way, if you're a Christian, you think everybody's at the same level and you're not better than anybody else. Tossing her tickets. Thank you. Thank you, my friends. And if you'll notice, I'm back in the black blazer today. I like to call these my devil horns. So I wore them for Friday just for you. 2 notes. Our next show is going to drop Wednesday, not Tuesday, for some stuff that's in the news cycle. And secondly, normally this would be it for us, but we had so much great content that we are going to be dropping a fresh piece of meat for you that's going to drop over the weekend. I think that you will love it and you won't want to miss it. So keep an eye out for it. As always, thank you for joining me today. I hope your Friday night is amazing, and I hope your weekend brings everything you want. I will see you next week on The Nerve, where you will never guess what we're about to say next.